The Razer Raiju Pro Controller is finished. Here's why. Yo, what's up you guys? My name is Zeppelin and welcome back to the channel. Now today, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's been in my mind for a while and something I wanted to make a video about, and that is the problems of the Razer Raiju. And while I'm doing this video, I'll mention the problems of the Razer Raiju Ultimate Controller and the Razer Raiju Tournament Controller from what I've heard. So let me give you my story about my experience with the Razer Raiju controller. I picked this controller up in about 2015 or 2016, between one of those two dates. And I'm not going to give you the run over of the specs, because if you are someone who has purchased a Pro controller and is looking at this video wondering what the problems are, you obviously know the basis of what a Pro controller does. You know, you've got your trigger locks, your back buttons, so many little things it's supposed to make the controller better to give you that edge in competitive gameplay. On my first purchase of the controller, I purchased it not long after it came out. I was on a budget looking for a Pro controller, and to get a very standard basic SCUF Pro controller, it was about €150, going up the way if you wanted to add any of the features that are sort of deemed necessary to get the best out of your Pro controller. Whereas when the Razer Raiju came out, it sat at a solid $150 and it had most things that a fully decked out SCUF would have. The only difference is that you didn't have the customization options in terms of design that SCUF gave you. Now, when I originally bought this controller, I was hesitant because I knew that a lot of people really like the back panels of a SCUF, and going into a Raiju, seeing the back buttons, which can be seen here, I was very worried about what the controller was going to feel like to play. And for the first while, it did feel difficult to learn how to use it. But after a while, I honestly have to say that even though I've had my problems with the Razer Raiju controller, it is still probably my favorite Pro controller that I've used in my limited usage of Pro controllers. I really enjoy the size of it and the back buttons. I like the tactile clickiness of the buttons. When it comes to the problems of the controller, and this seems to be something that is running through all Pro controllers, and I want to make a video on the Pro controller industry in general at some point, so I'm going to leave some points out that you may see in that video. So if you are interested in this, make sure to like and subscribe, and you'll be seeing more content along the lines of this, so you can understand where to go with Pro controllers in the future. But when I got the Razer Raiju, it had stick drift on the right stick, but only very minimal stick drift. While as actually the worst thing about the controller is that I don't know if I'll be able to show it here, is that the right analog stick has a bit of tension going up here and will sometimes just lock into place. Of course, I can't get it to lock into place now on video, but sometimes you're moving. Even listen to this turn. You can hear, maybe, I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up, I'll check back in editing, but if you can hear, sort of if it reaches up at the point where it gets stuck, it sounds like there's a little bit more traction, a little bit more grit. And I've had the controller open before, as you can see, with the blue grip being removed from the back of the controller. I've had it open before to have a look at to see what the problem was, and there was genuinely nothing there. It seems to be more of a design flaw that came with the early make of the Razer Raiju controller. And with it sometimes locking up here, it made it difficult to use, but it wasn't impossible to use. So I've had that problem with the Pro controller. And then eventually, about a year or two after the release of that controller, Razer released the Razer Raiju Tournament Edition and the Razer Raiju Ultimate Edition. The Ultimate Edition being 200 and the Tournament Edition being 150, sort of phasing out the original Raiju controller. At the time, I was a big fan of the Razer Raiju. Despite its problems, I really enjoyed the controller overall, and I really liked the changes that they seemed to make, especially with the Ultimate Edition, so I decided I would pick up the Ultimate Edition. And oh my god, how horrible it was. I really liked the back buttons. I really liked how the controller felt. It felt more premium. It felt like an upgrade. But the stick drift, I am talking unplayable stick drift when that controller came out. And I thought it might have been a fluke, so I used the warranty policy, returned it, got another Razer Raiju Ultimate, exact same problem. Thought, screw it, third time's the charm, returned it again, third time, same problem. It was an absolute disaster, and ended up going back to my old Razer Raiju, and in terms of Pro controllers, that's pretty much what I used ever since, except for testing one or two other controllers in my time of using them. The problem with the Razer Raiju for me now, and sort of what I said at the beginning of the video of why this controller is finished, and it's actually the reason why the back of it is permanently off, because I had to open it properly again to have a look, and when it was opened again I couldn't keep the grip on it properly. The stick drift began to become unplayable. Still not as bad as the stick drift I had out of the box of the Razer Raiju Ultimate, but pretty bad stick drift nonetheless. And I was very disappointed with that happening, because I really did enjoy the controller despite the minimal flaws it had. But at the same time, the controller lasted me about 3 or 4 years, and now that we're moving into next gen consoles and whatever the future Pro controllers holds, this controller was going to be coming to its end anyway. And I'm happy with what I got out of the controller for the price that I got it at as well, considering the astronomical price of things like scuffs and other Pro controllers, and remembering at the time there was no DualShock back button attachment. If you wanted something that gave you the competitive edge, you had to be spending the big bucks. And in terms of the big bucks, this controller, I had a good time using it. I really did. But it does have its problems, along with most Pro controllers. You've seen it in the Astro C40s as well. This is something I don't understand with Pro controller manufacturers. It seems that whenever a Pro controller manufacturer is not using the same basis that Sony uses for their controller and adding on top of it, if they're using their own build for a controller, there always seems to be problems, especially in the stick drift department. It feels like to me, why would you risk having stick drift? Why would you think that's something you can let go, when surely the one group of people who is going to notice any minimal flaw with their controller are the people who have caved out to buy a Pro controller, because they're people playing competitively and they need every competitive edge, and they're going to know every single nook and cranny of their controller and know if anything's gone, even to the slightest extent. So if it's a case of cost cutting, if it's a case of thinking Pro players have nowhere else to go, they're going to buy our controllers, it's a very sly and scummy business practice. When these controllers work great, and when this Raiju worked great, which it did work great for a while, it was amazing. It was amazing. And even though I have my problems with Razer, I have really enjoyed their headsets, and even though the Razer Raiju Ultimate was a big problem for me and a big letdown, I cannot praise them enough on this controller in general, on how it felt. Yo guys, so I hope you're enjoying the video you're watching now. I just wanted to interrupt it quickly to remind you to follow me on my Twitch and my social medias that are linked up here, my Instagram and my Twitter. That's where you'll find all the latest updates of what videos are going out when. When it comes to my Twitch, we are currently on a grind for affiliate. We are getting followers far faster than I ever expected to be getting followers, and at the rate it's going, it looks like we could maybe gain affiliate within 2 to 3 months, maybe even 1 month, depending on if we can get your help. So if this content interests you and you find me interesting, then if you go onto my Twitch, and I'm live on Twitch, and you have any questions on any of the videos that I've made here, whether you're just watching this video as it comes out or you're watching it way down the line, if you have any questions on the Razer Raiju or any other Pro controllers I may review, or any other items I may review, you can ask me to them while I'm live, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. As I said, the Twitch has been growing well, and I've been really enjoying doing it, and I've been really enjoying making this YouTube content, and it's something I want to be able to do more regularly, and with your help, it's something that I will be able to do on a regular basis and be able to improve on, so that the content I bring you guys and the reviews that I do bring you guys are better. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for watching, and now back to the video. But let me know what you think, guys. Leave a comment in the comment below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.